Welcome to Construction Champions Podcast, where we are burning the house down and rebuilding it twice a week. I'm your host, Rod Nussbaum, and I am here to help you become the champion that you're meant to be. Along with our amazing guests along the way, we will provide you with the resources, the latest and greatest. You will sit down with disruptors in the construction industry. And my goal from day one has always been to change the mindset around the construction industry. No more where we let the 3% of bad apes dictate the entire reputation of our. Welcome back, Construction Champions. I'm your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast today, where, as always, we're bringing on industry experts. We're bringing on people with the knowledge to help you become that champion that you're meant to be every week, every Monday and Thursday. You can find us wherever you listen or watch podcasts. Before we dive into it, if you could do me a quick favor and hit one of those buttons. If it's the like button, the subscribe button, the follow, whatever that is, wherever you're listening to this, it helps get the show out in front of more people just like you that are trying to improve their construction business. And it helps us get the message out there so we can change the mindset around the construction industry. Today, we have an amazing guest. As always, Karen, it is fantastic to have you here with us today.
Hi, Rob. Oh, sorry, everyone. It's great to be on your show today. Really excited to talk to your listeners about how we help construction companies like theirs do more with less.
Awesome. Well, before we dive into it, why don't you introduce yourself to all the construction champions listening out there?
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Karen Walshe, and I promise you, I'm the nice Karen. So people call me Kaz. I'm here, I'm helpful. And great thing about a Karen is we get things done. So with our construction customers, over the years, we've worked with construction companies of all sizes to help them with their staffing needs, because what we're being asked to do with the increase in costs of labor and the costs of construction materials is to do more with less. And so how do we remain competitive in a world where cost of materials are going up and staffing prices are going up? So what we decided to package up for our customers, and this is based on 25 years of experience of working with offshore teams, is providing offshore staffing to businesses like yours. And a lot of people are really confused about how that works. So, Ron, I'm not sure if you've had experience with using people, say, even if it's an outsourcing company like an accountant that's down the road, for example.
Yeah. I've used all kinds of different ways to get shit done.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few different tools in our toolbox to help, listeners like yours make a business more profitable and more efficient. And those efficiencies can come in the form of using staff located in the Philippines. So we have 18 offices over there. And we look after all industries, but about 40% of our business is construction. And we do have a lot of home renovation and building companies who use our services. And those kinds of services generally start off with people who haven't used offshore staffing before. So they'll start with a general admin assistant and then realize that the talent that we have over in the Philippines is so incredible that they'll start bringing on people with more highly technical skills, just like an architect or a BIM specialist or a 3D modeler, or maybe an accountant for their business. And so it's not uncommon for us to see a custom home builder and design, or a home renovator, or even a multifamily home builder go from one candidate to 20 in a period of a year. So depending on the size of the business, of course. So what they find is that this is a really great tool for them to be able to free up the resources of the people that they already have in their office. So they've got support for their office staff. We don't want to take away local jobs. We want to complement local jobs, and we want to actually bring down the cost of your overall wages so you can have more boots on the ground, because we know that the cost of inflation is really hurting everybody. So what we're here to do is actually help businesses streamline their procedures and also provide them with that much needed assistance that's not going to cost the earth.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have this conversation today, and I'm going to lead right in there and ask you the $1,000,000 question, which is what makes a construction champion?
Is communication chaos holding your construction business back? Emails, texts, and generic tools weren't built for your business. BuilderComms delivers a platform built for construction. Fully branded, custom workflows, and seamless integration, all designed to fix communication for good. From our free forever plan to your own custom solution, we make construction software not suck. Ready to transform your business? Book your free strategy call today.
So I believe that a construction champion is somebody who really has their finger on the pulse when it comes to their business. A lot of people, when they start a construction company, could potentially come from a background in a trade. And so they're on the tools every day. And having a whole skill set to create a construction company, we don't have all that knowledge or those resources. So this is where something like Go Recruit does come in handy. And we can't be expected to know everything. We can't be specialists in every area of our life. And people are drawn to creating their own businesses for many different reasons. But overall, the overarching reason why a lot of people create their own businesses is because they want to have a better life for their family and their loved ones. And so people don't understand when they start up their own business or own company, they think things might get easier, but initially they're quite challenging. How many times have you heard your builder say, "Oh, mate, I don't know. Mate is an Aussie word, and mate, it means, friend. Mate, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I didn't realize I'll be doing quotes after hours. I was going to be having to do the books and sending out invoices, chasing up people for payment. There's all these things that go into a business. And then social media marketing. I just want to be on site. I want to make sure that, everything's running the way that it's supposed to be. And I just simply don't have enough time. So this is where we step in. And this is the closest way you can actually clone yourself. So we do the things that you don't want to do, the things you can't do, you don't have time for, or you simply are not interested in doing. So all of those things, we have the resources with over 100 different roles to help your business.
Yeah, you hit on a couple key points there is I don't want to do this. And how do I find people? Like I hear that all the time, almost weekly. It's like, how do we find people to fill some of these roles? It's become a real roadblock for a lot of construction companies out there.
Yeah, and the hardest thing is, there's some people out there that may have used some freelancing services previously, and it's been a huge disaster. Or they've tried using an offshore staffing company before, and they haven't gotten what they wanted. We work very differently from any other company, and we tout ourselves as a bespoke agency. So we will listen to our customer because not two building companies are the same, not two roles are the same. So we really, drill down on what it is that you want. And we've got to remember that there's no superhuman out there. And as much as we try to find you that diamond in the rough, we really need to guide you in terms of what it is that you're looking for in terms of the skill set that you need to fulfill those issues that you have within your business, so we can provide you with a tool that's going to get those done. Sometimes you might need a hammer or sometimes you might need a screwdriver, depending on the role. So some people come to us saying, "Hey, I want a social media marketer and an accountant." And when you think about it, those are two very different sides of the brain that are being used. So one's very right brain, very creative, and the other one's very left brain and analytical. So, for us to find somebody with that kind of skill set, not to say that it can't be done, but it's very rare to find that kind of skill set. So we'll guide you every step of the way. And what we want to try to find is the biggest bang for your buck. but also find you somebody who has the skill set and the knowledge in the construction industry with that construction terminology to be able to add value to your business from the day they start. And like with every onboarding, you're going to need a little bit of guidance. You're going to need to be integrated into your business and into the way you like doing things, like with anybody that you put on site.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. Is no matter how you're going about bringing somebody into your organization, you need to have that onboarding correct, because that's how you set people up for success. And you covered a great point, is where a lot of times we look at this as like, I can go find somebody that can just do everything, but that's what creates the chaos. That's what creates the problems. You should still be looking for experts at what they do. And it's probably going to take more than a singular person to solve all your problems or take over the stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's where we come in and we can help guide you. We also help guide people with onboarding. For people who haven't tried offshore staffing before, we have a 90-day onboarding toolkit that actually helps step you through and provides you with a checklist. And you can just go to our website and download that and have a look through that if you want. So we've found over the years of working with customers like builders that there needs to be a very solid system in place in order to create an onboarding success. It's one thing having somebody in the office or on site because you see them, you talk to them, but with somebody, and especially an offshore resource like somebody that we use in one of our offices in the Philippines, is that you don't have direct contact with them in terms of oversight in the office. But we can do what we do now. Like we're having this, I am in Australia and you're in the US. This is how we communicate with our team. We use video conferencing, we use telephones, we use email, we use platforms like Teams, Trello, all those different platforms that are out there. Technology has actually changed the way that we communicate with our teams and with our family, friends, and worldwide. So, this is, the great thing about technology. And most of our candidates are really up to date with the latest technology as well. So you don't need to know it. They can guide you. So that's another really exciting thing about having somebody who is not local or somebody who's an offshore staff member. Not only are they cost effective, but they're bringing a whole new culture and a whole new skill set to your business.
Yeah, so you've referenced a couple of different areas, but for everybody listening that's trying to put their finger on exactly what would I utilize this for, what are some of the biggest areas that you see construction companies utilizing offshore assets?
Okay, there's quite a few areas. So administration is definitely one of those. So you can be on site more if that's what you love doing. So admin in terms of calendar management, organizing your emails, doing basic invoicing or, document controlling, taking notes. We've got what we call project managers, but they're not on site. So we've got, for larger businesses, they utilize our project managers to do all of the paperwork, do all the applications processes, to coordinate materials deliveries to site. We've got architects for those custom home builders and designers who will actually put together, concept and design for you to get signed off locally with all your local regulations, depending on what your state regulations are. Our candidates, mostly we go for candidates, if you're US based, we'll look for a candidate that has experience in the US. So it is quite a commonly used tool, offshore staffing for US clients. We've got 70% of businesses in the US are currently using outsourcing in one way or another. So this is not a new concept. So this is something that we work with a lot of US clients and a lot of US building clients. Accountants is another one that is a really popular role that's filled. BIM specialists, I can go on. CAD operators, whatever you can think of, we can do it.
Yeah, so it sounds like one of the main things is just cleaning off your tasks so you can go do what you want to do, and what you're great at is getting, I mean, like you said, an administrative assistant, somebody that's there to help just declutter everything around you. That can have a huge impact on your business.
Absolutely. And, it's having, an executive assistant essentially in your pocket. So, all you need is one of these, and you're on the phone to your assistant saying, look, I need you to call, I need you to do this, I need you to follow up on this email, I need you to contact the material supplier, I need you to do this, and this. And our candidates are so responsive. So, they're straight on top of everything. The one thing that I would caution some of your listeners on is that with the Filipino culture in general, the culture is yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, very polite, wanting to please you. There are things that are outside of their scope. This is when we're talking about hiring an admin assistant and you want them to do some accounting work, for example. This is where, you need to train them. If you haven't trained them and you've asked them to do something, they'll say, yes, sir. And it might take 4 hours to do a 5-minute job because they don't want to displease you. And that's also where we come in, because we have an incredible support team for both you and your candidate. So 24 hours a day, there's somebody available to actually assist yourself or your candidate in that process to make sure that there is no, lost in communication moments or
So
lost in translation.
how does that work with I'm not sure what time clock the Philippines are on, but how does that work with time zones for guys?
I've got to say, the Filipinos, they have been a big power hub for what we call business process offshoring for many years. It's like a $40 trillion business for them over there. It's huge. So candidates will work to your time zone. We have candidates in the office working in the US time zone right now. So it's something that the candidates are, they know that they do a night shift. It's like if you're a nurse, you're doing a night shift, but it's an office-based role. So they work to the client's requirements. So some clients get their work done and then they'll have their candidate work after hours, or they want their candidate to work on their time zone. So it's really flexible. When we go to market to find you your resource, if you want a dedicated resource, then that's how it works. If you're somebody who's not sure and you need a part-time person, we'll find one of our existing resources that has capacity to help support your business. But in terms of being cost effective, the cost effectiveness of our business is that we can save you up to 70% to the cost of local wages. So that gives you more money back in your pocket. And whatever you decide to do with that, you might decide to invest in a tech stack. You might decide to invest that into your existing local team through bonuses or pay increases, or you might want more boots on the ground on site, and that frees those funds up to be able to do that. Or you might simply just want to take the family away on a holiday. So while your virtual assistant is there helping you while you're away. So, it really depends on your business and what your needs are.
Awesome. So you said a couple times that you guys have offices there, and it sounds like the people are going and they're working in an office environment, like they're not doing this from their house. Am I picking up on that correctly?
So we do have an army of work from home resources that we have had for many years. And that actually was a godsend when the dreaded C word came about, which I'm not going to take everybody back to those days. But following that, we've seen a decline in the productivity and other issues from a dedicated work from home resource. And that we've pushed everybody back into the office. That's why we have 18 offices around the Philippines, to make sure that we're taking advantage of any talent all over the Philippines. So that is why most of our candidates do go into the office. And then we can then look at, flexibility in work schedules and with the client and all the rest of it. One thing that you need to be mindful of is when candidates are working in the US time zone, it is their graveyard shift. So, you don't want them to be distracted and you don't want them to fall asleep. In a workplace environment, it's a lot easier for them to have that um, communal collaboration. They're awake, but we also have sleeping quarters at our work. So in the Philippines, the traffic is crazy. So it's not uncommon for candidates to come to work and come early, have a sleep before their shift starts, then start work. Maybe during their break, they might have a little rest, and then they could potentially rest before they go home. So it's very different from a Western world office setup, the way we work. It's quite common for people to have sleeping quarters in their offices.
Yeah, I just think like a lot of people just think it's somebody overseas working in their house on their turn when they get around to it, but it's a lot more professional than that.
Oh, look, and not to take away from that because, and this is where people have had either amazing experiences or some nightmare experiences. And I have so many examples of clients who've had nightmare experiences who would never wanted to try offshore staffing before because the biggest questions I get are, one, are they going to be unable to understand what I'm asking them to do? Yes, they are. If you go through us, our English comprehension skills, they must pass that before they can even get into an interview with one of our HR agents. Number two, how do I know they're working on my work and not somebody else's? So not only do we have oversight in the office, but we also run software on their computers to make sure that they are being productive and to make sure that there's no idle time. Or what candidates can potentially do is use interfering software that is actually going to mimic that they're working. So we can pick up on that very quickly. In an office, we do mitigate that. They still have the software, but we are also, constantly seeing if they've got capacity to do extra work. So those are some of the most common things that we have that, people have said, I've given my candidate a 5-minute task to do and hours later, I still don't have it. This is when I say your candidate is working for somebody else. They are not dedicated to you and you're paying them to work for somebody else. And in my opinion, that is essentially stealing. So it's like taking money for doing nothing. And so you're agreeing. So this is something where we're very we have candidates who pass all the skills, all the testing, they're reference checked, we background check them, they are supported. But in some instances, you've got candidates who have been engaged, but they're not engaged at work. So that's the other thing we do. If you don't have enough tasks for your candidate, we'll ring you up and say, we've noticed that there is some capacity for your candidate. Are there any trainings they can do? Is there any other work you can think of within your business that can have them engaged? Because it's like anyone, if you're left in the corner and you're ignored, you're going to go find something else to do. I'm going to sit here and stare at a blank wall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I this is a whole different perspective on this. Like this is like I said, more professional. Like this is doing it the right way. Like you said, you run into all these people that have had nightmare situations, and it's because it was probably a nightmare situation to begin with. You just jumped into it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and I think it is human nature to be able to capitalize on certain situations. And, I can say it's only a very small minority of people in the Philippines or around the world that do that. The reason we go to the Philippines is because they have, out of all of the countries, the best English proficiency. So that we do actually source from other countries. We've got South Africa, we've got Pakistan, we've got Romania, We've got a lot of different countries that we can source from, but our most popular destination is the Philippines, simply because the price point is so good and the English communication skills are fantastic. And what we want is our customers to have this really positive, seamless experience.
Awesome. Awesome. I love what you're doing. This has been a fantastic conversation. For all the construction champions listening, if they wanted to connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, what's the best places for them to do that?
So they can go to our website, gorecruit.io. So that is probably, and on there you can book a meeting with us. You can actually talk to our AI, which we haven't even spoken about today. But these are voice agents that you can talk to 24/7. They're human-like, they're intelligent, and they can transfer you to a human. So, and then we can go from there, take the conversation from there, because we do have quite a few different services, and it's too much really to cover in one day, Ron.
Well, it's a good lead in. Yeah, here we went over a high level thing, and there's other stuff that goes along with that. So it's a good reason to get on a call with you and learn more about everything that you guys do. Awesome. Karen, thank you for taking the time to be on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and we're here to help. So no high pressure sales here, just a good old fashioned chat and see if our business aligns, and hopefully we can help you. So thank you so much for your time today, Ron.
Awesome. Thank you. Construction Champions, another episode in the bag, where I think with what we're talking about, it's like thinking outside the box. Like, how are we going to solve some of the problems that we have, and not looking at it from a singleized perspective and saying, this is how we've always done it, so this is how we're going to do it. Whether if it's the best for us, the worst for us, we can take this mindset that it's just what we're going to do. And we have to be able to look outside. We have to go outside the box as the construction industry continues to grow, as it continues to evolve. And we're headed towards that end outcome of how do we just make the construction industry great. It takes people that are willing to think outside the box and come up with solutions to solve their problems in a way that 5 years ago we would have maybe not even thought about. I mean, I think like that's the future of construction, is when we start doing that kind of stuff. And that's what Karen's doing at Go Recruit, is they're looking at it differently. They're taking a different perspective on what these roles could be in the construction industry and how that value add can be there, so you can go be great at what you do, which we talk about all the time on the show. Is like, our goal is to get within that wheelhouse of where we just live in our greatness and we're just out doing that. So Construction Champions, make sure you check out all of our fantastic partners. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be.
Tired of losing track of promising leads? Struggling to convert inquiries into contracts? Build 12 is your solution. Over 30 years of industry expertise tailored for contractors ensures seamless lead management and nurturing. Boost your closing rate with ease. Experience the efficiency today. Download Build 12 and supercharge your business growth. Don't wait. Act now.
Is communication chaos holding your construction business back? Emails, texts, and generic tools weren't built for your business. BuilderComms delivers a platform built for construction. Fully branded, custom workflows, and seamless integration, all designed to fix communication for good. From our free forever plan to your own custom solution, we make construction software not suck. Ready to transform your business? Book your free strategy call today.
Unlock the potential of property intelligence with HomeTrack. In seconds, generate over 250 data points from a single address using advanced imaging and public data. Streamline property assessments efficiently, saving both time and resources. Enhance your decision-making today. Experience the future of property insights. Engage with HomeTrack now.